Hello, second graders. Welcome to the second step of your printmaking bootcamp. By now, you should have completed your stencil, and we are ready to start printing on a blank piece of paper. You'll need to get a small blank piece of paper. When you get your blank piece of paper, go ahead and write your name at the top of your paper. Write a 2 for second grade, and then write the letter of your class. After you have written your name on your paper, flip it over to the other side. You're going to need your stencil, a tray of paint, water, a paintbrush, and a placemat. The first decision you need to make is to decide whether or not you are going to use warm or cool colors in your boot camp. Once you've made that decision, start with the lightest color of that set. If you chose cool colors, use green. If you chose warm colors, use yellow. I am going to pick the cool colors for my painting. So I will start with the color green. Wet your brush, swirl and twirl in your paint. You're going to need your brush a little bit on the drier side. You're going to want more paint than water. Once you've loaded up your brush, hold down your stencil with one hand and paint over the top with the other. Push the paint through all sides and all surfaces of your stencil. Once you've done that, lift up your stencil and you should have your shape underneath. Whatever color you decided to start with, fill up your entire paper with that. You'll see that done in just a second. Alrighty, so you can see I filled up my paper with green. I think a safe number would be 5, but you can try to do more than that. Leave a little bit of space in between each of those shapes, and you can turn them around all different types of directions. You can see this one's facing up, this one's facing sideways, and even you can have them kind of going off your paper. Once you finish your first color, move on to your second color. That'll be your second brightest color. For me, since I'm using cool colors, it would be blue. But if you're using warm colors, you're going to be using orange. So I'm going to rinse my brush off, get all the green off, then move on to blue. Swirl and twirl in whatever color you picked, and then you can start painting back on your paper. You might be thinking to yourself, Mr. I, you don't have any room left on your paper. Well, the beautiful thing about the stencil is we can certainly overlap some of those shapes. So once I get some blue, maybe I'll overlap these two, work from the inside. You can even cover up some of your old painting. Okay? So I'm going to finish this one up, and then I'm going to paint about another 5, 6, maybe even 7 blue shapes on my paper. Ran out of paint. Remember, you want more paint than water, so I'm going to try to make sure this isn't too wet. If it's too wet, you might have some problems. Your shape might change, you might rip your stencil. There we go. In just a second, you will see me all done with blue. Okay, so you can see that I've filled up my paper with blue. I've done about another 5 shapes. For the last color, you're going to choose your darkest color in your color category. So if you chose warm colors, end with red. If you chose cool colors like me, end with purple. Same kind of step, just make sure that you rinse your brush out really well, get that last color out. Wet your brush again, pick your new color, and of course you can overlap some of your old shapes. So maybe I'll have this one smack dab in the middle, and I'll overlap blue and green. Hold that stencil down, paint over the top. Interesting, this one is almost looking like a little bit blue. It's the bluer side of purple. So my brush is pretty wet. I don't want it to be too wet. Remember, if you get it too wet, you're going to run into some problems. Maybe the paint will leak out, create a big smear on your paper, or maybe even it'll be so wet that you might rip your stencil. I'm going to do it about another 5 of these, and then you'll see it all done in a second. Alrighty, so you can see I'm all finished with my boot camp now. Used all 3 colors, painted about 5 shapes in each color, and once most of your paper is filled up, you're done. You can put this on the drying rack. You don't need this anymore, so if you want to take it home or throw it away, feel free. And then next week, you will do the opposite painting. So once you finish a cool color or a warm color, you'll do the opposite the next time you come to art class. I'll see you then.